Okay, hello everyone. Uh, Welcome to Intro to Web Dev. Today we're just going to be going through some basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you don't know what those are, they're just basically languages used for making web pages. So today I'm gonna go through how you would make a web page, and I won't be actually putting it up on the internet because that's a whole different topic altogether. But yeah, I'm just gonna go get started here. The first thing you're gonna need is a text editor. So if you're on Windows, you could use something like Notepad. I'm going to use NeoVim. So just open it up. The second thing you're going to need is a web browser. So if you can use Firefox or Google Chrome or whatever. HTML. This is what we're going to start with. So if you have a file like index.html, the first thing you want to put in a HTML document is the HTML declaration. So that starts off with just so a less than sign, exclamation mark, and then doc type in capital letters, followed by HTML and greater than sign. I'm just going to refer to those as angle brackets for simplicity. I just realized syntax highlighting isn't on. I'm in a different document. Okay. Things are going very not smoothly. Right. I am going to call this main.html. There we go. Now syntax highlighting on. So then what you're going to want to do is type out HTML twice, but the second one is going to have a slash in the end, or at the beginning. So this is the root HTML element. It's not required. A lot of web browsers are very forgiving, but it's good practice to always include this. And then inside this, you're going to want to have some body tags. You're actually going to want to have head as well. But we'll worry about the head later. We're going to focus on the body first. And so these things are referred to as tags. And then a pair of tags is an element. And the tags and what's inside is a HTML element. So the body tag, it's going to contain what's inside. It's going to basically contain what displays on your page. So you can put text in here. So you just put some text. My name is Neil. This is my website. So if you save it, and then if you exit, and if you just open it up in your web browser. So if you're on Windows, you can probably it'll probably open up with the web browser by default. On Linux, if you can use just the command line, type in the name of your web browser followed by the file. So it's main.html, and here we can see we've got the web page. Now it's just text, so we obviously want something a bit nicer than that. So let's try and put this on 2 different lines. So if you do an enter here and save it and then reload the page, you'll see it doesn't actually go on to a new line. So in order to put it on a new line, you're going to need to put it in these P tags. And this P here stands for paragraph. And once we do this, oops, I forgot the slash. And when you reload the page, it appears on 2 different lines. So now what I will do is I will change the top one to a heading. And to do that, you can use H1. And now you'll see that it is big text. And the reason why there's a 1 here is because that denotes the size of the heading. So if I were to put down a H2 heading, it's smaller, so you can think of it as like a subheading. And this actually goes down to H6. So 6 different sizes of subheadings. Right, so we've got text. Now we might want to format the text so that it's not just we might want to put in things like italics. So we can use I tags for italic text. It's here. It's in italics. Also, we can sort of put them in. We can put tags inside other tags. We can have nested tags. So if we want bold text, I'm picking quite random spots here. But if you want bold text, then use the B tag. Now, strong would actually probably be better practice, because we'll get to CSS later, but CSS lets you change the way things look, and you can change the way strong things look, but it wouldn't really make sense to change the way a bold thing looks. But we'll get more into that later. So, what next? We can do links. So, to do a link, you can use this A tag. Stands for anchor, if I recall correctly. So let's say we want to link to netsoc.ie, and yeah, so we need to actually make it link to something. We need to have this thing inside the first A tag, href. So it's when you put something inside, it's an attribute. So we're gonna have to actually type in the link, the full HTTPS, or HTTP if you're not up to HTTPS yet, but put in the full URL, and then here you'll be able to actually go to that website. So you've linked to another website. And another thing we can do is images. So to do that, use the image tag. And you don't actually have to close this. You don't have to follow it up with /image. And image uses the source attribute, and it will look for if you type in the path to your file. So I'm going to put in /pictures/memes, and then cool.
Oh, I noticed the href on your anchor has no quotes. I didn't actually realize that those work without quotes.
Yeah. Good. It's broken.
It probably doesn't like the tilde.
Yeah. I can just probably replace that with home/Neil. Will that work?
You need the / at the beginning, I think. You might also have to put in file. I'm not sure if you're doing absolute.
Here we go. I'll put this in full screen. So yeah, this was the meme that I put in the email this week. So yeah, it's a joke about CSS, how you have to, it's sort of very trial by error. It looks weird. Like even when this came up, this image is massive, so this would probably be a good segue into CSS. So what we've done here, we have some very plain stuff, like it's all black and white, and this link is blue, but what if we want to actually change the color, or change the size of our images? To do that, we can use an attribute called style. So let's just start with sort of making this image smaller. So if we use the style attribute, then you have to include this in either single quotes or double quotes. I'm going to use double quotes. And if we do width equals, no, not equals, colon, let's say 500 pixels. And then save that. Here, so it's smaller now. So what if we want to then change what if we want to change the color of our background? So say we want if we want the background to be black and the text to be white, we would go up to our body and use the style attribute, and then we would have background background black. Yeah. So now the background's black, but the text is also black, so you can't see it. So to put in a second style, you use a semicolon. So then you would use the color. Are these CSS attributes? I don't know. I think they're called attributes, but color is, we want it to be white. So there we go. Now we have a dark theme. Right. So there are a bunch of different things you can do with CSS. I am by no means an expert, but if you're looking for things that you can do, you can just Google it. There's loads of resources. Now I suppose we will go into JavaScript. So JavaScript is the language that is used to make web pages interactive. So let's say we have a button, and we want to make the button bring us to our new night mode. So we just delete this. So now we've got a button here, and see, this is why you need the slash. So because I forgot the slash, it thinks that I'm opening a new button tag, and that's what this little second button in here is. So now you know. But we've got a button here, but it doesn't actually do anything. So I think, yeah, so white I think has to be inside quotes, I think. Does it? Oh, I suppose we're not going to see it until we actually implement the function. So we then we want to also set the background to black. We also need to give our function a name. I forgot that. So the function name is just going to be switch mode. And then in our button, we use the onClick attribute, and we will refer to switch mode. And reload the page. We can see here, we can sort of, it didn't work. This is going to happen a lot when you're doing JavaScript. So
you need quotation marks, by the way, because otherwise those are considered variables.
Okay.
I'm curious about the your onClick is got a C, an extra C in it.
onClick. Oh yeah, it does. Right. Okay. Right. So yeah, we've got the button working now. But it's not a permanent change. So when you reload a page, it'll go back to its default settings. So because we've defined it, we haven't actually given it any style at the start. It's just going to show up as default, and then when we click the button, it'll change it. So now, what if we want if we click the button, what if we want to go back to regular mode? So to do that, a good way to do that is to use a boolean. So just call let daymode equals true, and then inside our function we can do if daymode, then it should switch to night mode, and then oops. If daymode, and then else, we can use else here. And I suppose you can just copy what's inside and just switch them around. So make the text black and the background white. And one more thing. We're gonna just have to change daymode to false here, and my indentation is all messed up. Daymode equals true, and then so now we can switch back and forth. So think that's covered the basics. Am I forgetting anything? So if you want to actually get a deeper look into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, a good resource is W3 Schools. They can go into much more detail than I could ever teach you. They have tutorials on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, as well as a load of other languages if you're interested in those. And yeah, I think they're really useful. That's how I learned HTML, and yeah, it's a good website. So I hope I haven't put you off building websites with all my with my crappy talk, but thanks for coming anyway. So let's finish up.